Hello fantasy managers, and welcome to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. We've got a lot to go over this week. We're going to be having a brief review of Game Week 32 before having a look at Game Week 33 assets. Obviously it's a blank game week. Really interesting captaincy decision this week, and also going to be having a very quick look at what's going on after Game Week 3, and for those that might be playing their wild card, also having a look at Pogba, should we be selling him, and potential Spurs assets. Let's get to it. Okay, so last week did go very, very well for me. 120 points all out, game week rank of 22,000. That's the highest game week rank I've had this season. Played my free hit chip, went very well actually. There was a lot of 50-50 calls in there which I wasn't sure on, and I got lucky on quite a few of them. Starting at the back, Kepa got the clean sheet, very happy with that. Azpilicueta got a very, very fortunate goal, which really shouldn't have stood. It was only thanks to Willian's hair that he blocked off the linesman from seeing that it was well offside. So very fortunate with that. Laporte also coming in with the double clean sheet and the assist there. So that one came in for me. I was debating between Laporte and having another City midfielder, so I'm glad I went with Laporte. Schlupp, 7 points. I'll definitely take that from a Crystal Palace defender. Moving into midfield, Son did the business. I wasn't sure whether to go with him or possibly Trippier as my Spurs asset, so I'm very pleased I went with Son. I do think that now he seems to have had a rest, and he does look like a very good option going forward as well. Pogba, on the other hand, he seems to be playing a little bit deeper. He's not getting the chance. He just doesn't seem quite as motivated as he was when Solskjaer came in and he really had a point to prove against Mourinho. So he might be my transfer out this week. We'll come to that a bit later. Hazard doing the business in the second game there. I've got to admit, I was a little bit worried that he didn't start the first one, but he's obviously a very explosive player and a very streaky player, and they've got West Ham up next, so I'll come a little bit more to that, but he could be a good captaincy shout. I feel sorry for those that captain Sterling. I think he was a great pick. He was always a little bit of a risk of rotation, especially for that second game, but to be honest, I did think that he was going to play both, so very unfortunate if you did captain him. Milivojevic, I think I said that right. He did the business for me, 11 points, although I was debating between him and Jimenez, who also did well. So that was a 50-50 one, which didn't really go either way, to be honest. Rashford got the goal. Unfortunate to pick up the injury which kept him out of the second game. But I can't really complain for someone at that price point. I was looking at Kane, who got a similar return for a lot more money. So I'll take Rashford's points. Aguero, he's the one which... I think quite a few people captained Aguero, and he turned out to be a good captaincy for the week. 10 points, you can't really complain at double figures. But it's unfortunate that he got injured. Although saying that, the amount Pep rotated, whether he would have actually played that second game, maybe not. So overall, very, very happy with last week's points. But there is no rest for the wickeds, because we've got games coming up this Friday, so let's have a quick look at those fixtures. Okay, so it's obviously a blank game week this week, which means there's certain teams that are missing out. Obviously, I played my free hit, which I know quite a few people did last week, so I've got my team coming back in, so I'm hopefully going to have a full squad. I think Liverpool versus Southampton, if you haven't got 3 Liverpool players, you should definitely be looking to bring them in. I've got the double up in defence for Liverpool with Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. I've got Salah in midfield. I'm fairly happy with that. I think Mane is probably the best pick at the moment. He's just the guy that's in form, and if I'm a bit worried about him, to be honest. I think he's going to be a really popular captaincy shout this week. Otherwise, Bournemouth versus Burnley, I've got King and Wilson for my lineup. I think that those are a good shout. Burnley obviously fighting for survival, so I think they're going to put up a pretty big fight at Bournemouth, but Bournemouth at home have been very good, especially from an attacking point of view, so I think I'm still quite confident with their assets. Leicester versus Huddersfield is a bit of a tricky one. Obviously, I think those with Vardy will be very happy. Those with Maddison will be very happy. It's almost when Huddersfield obviously relegated, but when a team gets relegated, they often they can actually play a bit better. So I don't think that's a complete gimme for Leicester. But it is still Huddersfield, and Leicester under Rodgers seem to be picking up a bit of form. So I think Leicester assets are a good shout. Vardy and Maddison, and possibly a defender. They got a clean sheet at the weekend, so I've got Pereira. I'm happy to own him. Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. That one could go either way. I've got Rondon. Happy to have him. Crystal Palace defenders could be a good shout though, and also potentially other Newcastle assets, maybe one of their defenders. So I think that's a very 50-50 match. Newcastle on a good run of home wins. I believe it's 5 in a row. And Crystal Palace have actually been performing quite well away from home, and it took Spurs a while for them to break Palace down last night. So don't think that's a gimme for Newcastle, but you'd expect them to win, and I'm quite happy to have Rondon. Everton versus Arsenal. Everton seem to be picking up a little bit of form at the moment, so I've still got Richarlison, but obviously that's quite a 50-50 game. Arsenal have been playing well, but that's mainly been at home. Chelsea versus West Ham, that's a crucial one for me. Got the Chelsea defence and Hazard, and as I'll come to later, I think Hazard is a good captaincy shout. Okay, moving on to some community questions then. So having a look at what to do with Pogba and captain for Gameweek 33. So I'll come to captain a little bit later, but another one there on Pogba. So seems to be a bit of interest in what to do with Pogba. And although he's not playing this week, many will still have him and will be thinking about, what should I do with him on my wildcard after this week? For me, I think that I am going to be getting rid of him. I might even do it this week. Slight danger is that, I've got a lot of value tied up in him. I got him for around the 8 million mark, so I'm going to be losing a fair chunk. But it does look like there are better options. Son could be the route to go for. It looks like he's had his rest. Spurs go on a good run of fixtures now as well. So, I mean, apart from the Man City match, they've got a lot to fight for as well. I know Manchester United have as well, but Manchester United seem to just be on a bit of a dip of form. Their last 2 matches, they haven't played well at all. Pogba hasn't played well at all. So I'm leaning towards going Son long term. So next week I'm going to be playing my wild card. I haven't really looked at my wild card squad, but I very, very much doubt it will be Pogba. And I possibly could be transferring him out this week. But that does mean I definitely won't be able to have him in my wildcard team, and I have already got 11 players, so I'm not 100% set on that, but I'll come to my move later. But overall, I'd say yes, get rid of Pogba. That's certainly the way that I'm leaning. So the next community question was on Spurs players. Which one should we target? I've already mentioned Song. I think that he's a great shout. I'd probably edge to him over Kane just because of the value. Squeezing Kane into your team is going to be difficult, and all season he's not really justified that price tag, so and Son has, so that probably would be the way that I'm going to go. Having said that, Kane does tend to finish the season really strongly, and if you really think that he might do that, might be gunning for that golden boot, especially now Spurs are in their new stadium, then I think that he's potentially one of those players which could produce a massive haul and shoot you up the rankings. But for me, he's not justifying his price at the moment, so he probably won't be in my wildcard team next week. Although again, I haven't really looked at that wildcard team too much. Otherwise, I think the only other option really is Trippier. See that Aurier's out. He could be a shout, but again, I'm not massively keen on Trippier. He certainly is one for rotation. He hasn't been playing that well this season, so I think it probably Son is the main shout there. You could go Eriksen, but I think that Son probably the better value. Okay, so moving on to captaincy then, and a really, really close one this week. We ran this poll on Tuesday, so I might have slightly different results, especially with Hazard doing well midweek. I'm certainly leaning more towards Hazard now. Just he's one of those streaky players, and if he gets on a run, he can bully teams. And West Ham. I think the main reason is West Ham are just so poor defensively, especially away from home. So I think that given that fixture, given Hazard's form, I don't have Mane. I think if I did have Mane, that would be quite a big decision because I think Mane he's also in really good form. Salah, he's never a really bad shout for captaincy, and I can't argue against people going that way. But personally, I think I'm edging towards Hazard at the moment. Vardy's also on there. If I did have Vardy, I probably would still be going to Hazard or Salah or Mane over Vardy, if I'm honest. But, he is a good shout. Huddersfield aren't great, so I can't really begrudge anyone going that way. But personally, I'm leaning towards Hazard. Okay, so this is my team going into blank game week 33. I've got one transfer. I've got a full 11, which I'm happy with. I've got to say that, apart from Fabianski against Chelsea, I'm actually fairly happy with that team. I think there's a good few picks in there. My main debate is whether I'm going to get rid of Pogba this week. If I do get rid of him this week, he definitely won't be coming back on the wild card. I guess, there's still potentially a place for him in my wild card because, I do have a lot of value tied up in him. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards Pogba out for Maddison probably. Then I've got a little bit of a tricky bench issue. Probably bench Richarlison. Although he has been returning for me lately, and I don't think that's actually a bad fixture for him against Arsenal. Arsenal are a little bit leaky, especially away from home. So a bit of a tough decision, and one that I'm going to ponder probably right up to the deadline and really check the press conferences. But yeah, it's probably going to be Pogba to Maddison is the route that I'm looking at. And that's it for this week. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on. It really does help the channel out. There's going to be lots of content coming out this week. I can't leave a link in the description, but make sure you go to the site and check it all out because it's going to come out. We've got Chris Tan's captaincy article. That's going to be a really, really important one this week. It's probably going to inform my captaincy decision. He always does a really good breakdown of the numbers and really looks at which of those captaincies is going to be the best option. Matthew Jones is going to be doing his team reveal, hopefully. We've got Rob Watson-Lang doing Power Rankings video, which, that's becoming a much more popular one. Rob's on a great run as well. I think he's on 10 green arrows in a row, so Rob really knows his stuff. Got Ben Dinnery with the team news, so be sure to check that out as well. And Richard Clark's going to be doing his FPL strategy analysis, and that's really, really interesting. Another top player Richard is. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you on the other side when we're going to be talking about wildcard options for those who still have your wildcard left. Thanks very much. Bye.